The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And we're back.
Oh, yeah, we're back and ready to roll.
And the mayor's made a statement today about the passage of the infamous $10 fee.
Yes, the mayor released a statement shortly after the vote last night, where he said that now that he has his $10 fee, the city can move forward with economic development and other major issues. He said that if this fee hadn't passed, he'd have to make the choice between 100 police, fire, DCM workers, and school teachers, or filing for a waiver of $3.7 million to meet net school spending. So here's the kicker. He put that fee into the budget, accounted on that money, and then had the vote not go 5-3, it wouldn't be there. So what would he have done? And Mike Mioza brought up a very interesting situation. What happens if 10 taxpayers get together, go to the Superior Court, and ask for an injunction on the fee?
Yeah, but here come the judge.
Here come the judge. Here come the judge.
Here come the judge. He wouldn't answer that question, would he?
Well, he says it's highly unlikely that this would go before a judge, but it wouldn't happen.
What, is that an answer to a question?
No, and then he was asking that, but what would happen if it did happen? Oh, that won't happen. You know a lawyer. They don't answer any questions.
I believe the mayor also said that this will now create a sustainable budget.
Yes.
Which is absolute BS. Everybody,
right.
Listen, I actually took my tie off, but I have a sport coat on today because this morning I attended a retirement board meeting. And at that retirement board meeting, our treasurer, Mr. I never saw a figure I had in front of me, Noons, informed the retirement board that the city would not pay on time. They have an October 1st date that they agreed upon years ago to put their share of the retirement costs in, and he said the city will not do it. They can't do it. And then he said, well, I'm not going to say it on camera, but how do you expect me to pay people's salaries if I've got to pay for the retirement? Well, that's part of the budget, nitwit. I hate to tell you that. That's what you get paid to do, manage the money. You're not supposed to give out pay raises, and you're not supposed to give out, throw money around on all these projects if you don't have the money to sustain your previous commitments, one of which is the retirement system. For the people who put 30 and 40 years into the system working for the city, and you continually steal, this budget is not sustainable because obviously they can't pay their bills now. They can't sustain what we've got right now. They're going to be late. And I asked at that meeting, and that meeting will be on television, I asked for an impact study of what that delayed payment will cost. We had a projection of if they don't pay on October 1st, next year, we will incur an additional $500,000 in liability. $500,000. That's going to now be called next year's budget. That will be called, oh, we didn't anticipate this. Well, guess what? You're not going to get off the hook because I'm telling you now. You're going to owe more money. And when Clueless Sam tries to BS like he does and says, oh, with this fee, I'm going to be able to pay all the bills. You can't pay your bills right now. If you could pay your bills, you'd pay the damn retirement system on time in October, not in January. It's all baloney. It's campaign season and everything is rosy. We get $10 and we can pay all our bills. Even though there's no accurate projection on how many people opted out, how much money that's going to impact, all these other issues. There go the politicians again. It's campaign season. They're all going to hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and say, "Oh, what a wonderful world." Next thing, we're going to have Louis Armstrong's ghost appearing at the government center, singing, "What a wonderful world that we live in." Yep, Fall River's beautiful. And we have a sustainable budget. Just like our man Sean Kadim said about 3 years ago.
And my earbud is telling me that I hear malfeasance. Malfeasance.
Malfeasance, misfeasance, nonfeasance, every feasance you can list in the book. That's what we have in Fall River.
I'm telling you.
And what we have is a budget built on BS. Because, if BS was bricks, this administration could build a chimney to the moon and have bricks left over.
Hey, and we wouldn't have to spend $100,000 on a study to determine if the King Philip Mill chimney needed to be repaired.
But, this is deplorable. And then to have the treasurer say, we have to choose between paying your commitment to the retirees and paying people salaries, and then have the mayor with the audacity to release a statement that this budget is balanced and it's sustainable is criminal.
This is the problem, though. There is no criminal in Fall River, okay? We don't have any findings. You're less than truthful. And that's the sad part about it. We now have a judge where, of course, last night, Linda Perry goes, "I don't know whether to call you judge or attorney, or, I'm used to calling you judge." And he says, "You can call me anything." Well, I have a few words I'd like to call them, but we won't get there.
We can't say it on here because of the FCC. I got a few names I'd like to call them, too.
Yeah, but this is the problem we have. All right? The people of Fall River don't really get up in arms. I said this before. This country was founded on a revolution which started over a 2% increase in tea taxes, which was less than a hay penny, which is less than a half a cent. And they started an entire revolution. We get hit with $2 bag fees and $10 monthly sanitation fees, and a fee for this and a fee for that, and 2.5% increase in taxes, and now they're going to ask for an override. And you know what? They sit there and they go, "Oh, well, there's nothing we can do. Oh, well, there's nothing we can do. We're going to revolt." 20 people go outside and go, "Yay, we got a sign. Yay, we got a sign." You know what? Do a revolt. Make it happen. March on City Hall. March on these city councilors. Don't let them get away with what they're getting away with. Yeah. A 5-3 vote yesterday was, in my opinion, was telling the people of Fall River, "Hey, right there, because we don't care about you." And that's the truth.
No, it is. And the thing is, what you have to do is march on the polls in September and November and just clean this place out. Because the fact is, listen, they continue the line. And like I quoted Goebbels a while back in front of the council. And if you tell a big enough lie long enough, the people begin to believe it.
Yes.
And all they do is continue to misrepresent. And then they parade these people in front of the council. Now, Mr. Nunes has not given a straight answer in his tenure with this city. I don't think I've ever heard him give a figure. I think like his middle name is, "I don't have that with me. I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you." So he's the treasurer, and he's making in excess of $100,000. And then he gets an attitude. And he's got all kinds of people helping us. But, they all deserve the money. And then we have Kathy Ann talking about the money she saved, which we've proven she didn't really save on 2 of our previous shows. And the layoffs. There's Secret Sam again, slinging the BS so much that, you need hip boots. 100 jobs. Half of those jobs were unfilled. They were unfilled positions. Kenny Pacheco admitted that the 18 positions in DCM, 9 of them were unfilled. That is not laying off anybody. That's losing a job through attrition. I thought at Brown University, attrition wasn't the dictionary you used at Brown University, and maybe even in law school. You people lie. If you were Pinocchio, your nose would be on the moon already, not in California, because you lie so much. And the insult is you expect the people of Fall River to accept your lies, and they have been. But it's time to wake up. That's why they watch our show now. Do you realize that we've got over $40 million increase in revenue in this city in the last 5 years? And that's not counting what they made over Blue Cross. $42 million more this city is raising, and we're broke. $42 million is, well, roughly how much of the budget? What do we got, like 270? So that's a big chunk of, it's almost 20% of the budget. We've increased our tax burden and collections by 20%, and we still can't balance our budget. We can't pay the retirement on time. And if we pay the retirement on fund, we have to rob it from someplace else. And then we get these people in front of the council. Now we have the judge. Here come the judge. He gets up there and he's already, look, you can't question me. I'm a judge. It's like, no, you're the corporation counsel and you work for us now. You're not on the bench with your gavel. You can't tell us that if we don't answer your questions, you're going to put us in jail. We're going to tell you if you don't answer our questions, we're getting rid of your boss, the mayor, and we're going to get a new corporation counsel because we're not going to take that kind of arrogance. At least I'm not. And I'm going to make sure I get rid of this guy because I'm tired of these people marching up there with their attitudes like we work for them. No, we pay them. And I'm tired of it. And we've been paying and paying and paying. And forgive me if I'm a little frustrated because I'm getting it from both ends. I'm paying my taxes, I'm paying my fees, I'm getting killed like every other person that lives in Fall River, be they property owner or renter, because the rents are going to go up, obviously. But if you're a property owner, you're really taking it on the chin. But I got the double whammy. I worked for this city for almost 39 years. I watched 5 men die in a line of duty on my job. I went off on a normal pension. I could have got a disability, but I went off on a regular pension. And what do they do to me? They don't fund my pension system. They take my health care and they eviscerate it. I'm paying 25 times more for my health care. A health care that I negotiated and gave up pay raises for and made concessions for, and a retirement system that I paid into. And I can tell you one thing, there's not one city employee that didn't pay their share into the retirement system. But I can show you the last 10 years how deficient the city has been in paying their share, either not paying it at all or paying it late, which ultimately ends up in more liability. And then the mayor has the audacity to use that as an excuse. Well, retirement's costing us more. Yeah, of course it's costing us more. It's not because people are living longer. That's part of the actuarial charts. It's because you clowns don't pay your share on time. And now you've increased it another $500,000 for next year because you're not paying on time. And I'm not going to let you get away with that. So forgive me if I'm tired of listening to this political rhetoric. It's time not to take a shovel and clean it up. It's time to get a bulldozer.
I hear you, Chip. And the sad part about it is every election year we go through the same crap. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think all 9 need to go. City Councilor Dan Rigo has decided to block the voter. He has made contacting him via Facebook impossible. And, I can understand it because there are a lot of people out there that can be very mean and very cruel on Facebook. But he is an elected official. That's a means of communication for a lot of people today, is to send you a private message. And in turn, he's blocked them. So he cannot get their messages and he can't read what they're saying, which says to me either he's walking around with blinders on or he doesn't want to hear it. We take this a step further. I was sending emails to City Council Correa. Do you know that they're all bouncing on a regular basis? And that's all week they've been doing that. So I finally sent him a message and I said, Jazel, you need to clear out your email box because everything's bouncing. You can't get any pertinent communications. He sent me back a message, with this election, it's filling up very fast. Well, if you know it's filling up very fast, have somebody go through it and clean it out. These are means of communications today, but we don't do them, okay? Because we've gotten so complacent in not listening. City Council President Joe Camara said on a radio station, we don't read it. We don't read the reports. We've got too much to do. We don't read it. I know they don't read the emails, or if they do, they just delete them, that I've sent them on many issues. And you know what? They don't care. They don't, and Joe Camara said it very clearly, we don't care. What are you paid for? To go in there and listen because they listen to what they say, oh, well, we're voting on what they're telling us. Your job is to investigate that, okay? Not to sit there and say, oh, well, you know, the pablum's coming out and we're ready to eat it because that's all we have to do. And when confronted with the fact that what they voted on is potentially illegal, is definitely wrong, they turn around and say, well, I had to vote for that. If I didn't vote for that, they wouldn't reelect me. Well, that's serving your own self-interest. Like the votes that are taken about, well, I'm not going to pay for my tenant's trash. So I'm not going to pass an ordinance that's going to fine me because they don't use the purple bags. Hey, you're the landlord. You're responsible. It's your property. You don't like it, Linda? Too bad. That's life. Okay? I'm a landlord. What did I do to solve that problem? I privatized. So don't tell me that you're not going to pay for everyone else's problem, because you know what? Every vote you take means I have to pay for your nitwitted behavior, and I have to pay your problem that you create, like not paying for the pensions, like not paying for the health care. This isn't the way it is, okay? And then, I love this, out of fairness, we're going to bond $1 million so we can put in brown barrels for yard waste across the city, which should have been done years ago. You know what? You're going to throw more money away. We're going to throw money away because how many people are going to privatize and are not going to use that? Oh, and $500,000 for a new computer system. And I loved it because they said very specifically in the hearing, for training on Windows 7 and 8, both of which, by the way, on July 29th are obsolete because Windows has put out Windows 10. So we're gonna pay to train people in an obsolete operating system. It'll still be around, but this is what we do. We pay for old equipment, obsolete equipment. I looked over the bid, and I've actually requested copies of the bids. I want to see who the low bidder was, because I have a strong suspicion that this is not the low bidder. And by looking at the bid, it was a joke.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're fired up. I'm fired up. The voters hopefully get fired up because, you know, there seems to be a pervasive attitude here that these politicians today feel that they don't have to listen. They not only don't have to listen, that it's not even relevant for them to listen because they don't represent us. They've forgotten that they were elected to do what we want. And in order to do what we want, you have to listen to what we have to say. If you look at this, they stringently restrict citizens' input. It's almost like they really don't want to have it. They don't want the people to be able to go in front of the city council and talk about their issues. Well, guess what? It should be just the opposite. We should have an entire night dedicated to citizens' input because the citizens are the people that pay the freight. You have a city councilor that doesn't want to talk on email, doesn't want to, you know, communicate now because he's taking some heat for a position, but he's running for re-election. So my advice is if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Don't run. When you run for public office, when you assume any position of leadership, you got to put your shit helmet on. Because people are going to start throwing things at you. Because heavy is the head that wears the crown. The fact is that no matter what you do, there's always going to be a segment that disagrees. And if you're a leader or a politician, you're going to hear from those people. And it's your job. And if you can't take that, don't take the job. If you don't want to listen to the people, all the people, you know, we have a republic, a representative form of government. The majority is supposed to rule, not the minority. You know, we've said time and time again that we have a monarchy here. This is not a democracy. It's not a republic. It's a constitutional monarchy. This nation is a constitutional monarchy. And this city is fundamentally a constitutional monarchy because they don't care. People, you know, we watched the citizens' input. There were, I don't know, over the course of 3 or 4 meetings, there must have been 100 people go up at citizens' input, and probably 96 out of them were against it. But here it is. The fee's here. The bills are going out. We don't listen. To hell with the people. You know, what do they know? It's only their money. And this is the thing that, you know, every time, you know, there comes a point in history that everything reaches a tipping point. It took the Boston Tea Party in 17, and when we started the Revolutionary War, it took that straw to break the camel's back. The purple bags were the straw that broke the back of Will Flanagan. But it wasn't the only thing, and we all know that. Everybody likes to attribute it, makes it a very simplistic thing that it was the purple bags. No, the purple bags was that little feather on the scale that tipped it, flipped it. Then everything came rushing back. The illegal stormwater taxes, all the other machinations of his administration. Well, this is the same thing. Hopefully, you're going to look at a major change in our government on all levels, school committee, city council, and in the mayor's office. Because, you know, in '95 they got rid of 5 city councilors, so we're like in the 20th anniversary of that uprising. But you know, we weren't in anywhere near the condition we're in now. And the reality is, it's not getting better. It's not getting better. I don't care what he says. Remember, everything he says is not going to be accurate. This is a campaign season. They lie. They misrepresent. It's not true. I mean, look at his statement. This $10 will make it. We're all set. I got my fee. We're good. We don't have to lay anybody off. We're good. The budget is fine. We're sustainable. Yet, his treasurer said today, they can't pay a bill on time. If your budget's sustainable, you can pay your bills on time.
Well, you know, Chip, here's the funny thing. You talk about arrogance. This is how arrogant some of our elected officials are. They had an OCPF meeting, which is the Office of Political Campaign Finance. And 3 elected members of the city council showed up. Linda Pereira, Ray Mitchell, Jaisal Correa. They signed in. Linda was the only person who sat down. Ray came in, talked to Linda, left. Signed in and left. Jaisal came in, signed in, stood at the door, politicked, left. Linda sat there, she asked 2 questions, got up and left. They're so arrogant in their position. They're so arrogant that they know everything. That the campaign finance law changed. Those changes were discussed at length at this meeting, and they don't have to be there because we know everything. All right? You had Gabe Andrade, Joe Martin, Melissa Panchley from the school committee. They sat there through the entire meeting, asked some very serious questions, and a lot of those new rules didn't apply to them. But they still asked. They wanted to know. That's how you can tell the difference between arrogance and being informed.
Well, that's kudos to those 3 school committee people on doing their due diligence. But you know, there's another side to that. They'll say, well, you know, we've got campaign finance people. But guess what? You are now responsible.
That's
and
right.
if there's a screw up, you will be reminded of the fact that you had an opportunity to clarify it with the organization. So they were down here. You know, they were down here for a reason. And if you didn't avail yourself of that service, and then you screw up, well, guess what? You're going to suffer the consequences. And that's the way it is in life. But unfortunately, they never suffer the same consequences
don't.
we do. Because as I said, if an attorney lies to the court, the judge says he was less than truthful to the court, and he gets a little tap on the pinky. If you lie to the court or I lie to the court, they throw us in jail for perjury. And that's the problem. The problem is that we do have a monarchy. There are people that live by a different set of rules, and that's not the way it's supposed to be in America, and only we can change that. They have to be held accountable. The Constitution of our state, and my favorite provision in Part 1, Article 5 of Part 1 says that whether they're judicial, so even when he was a judge, legislative or executive, they are at all times agents of the people and answerable to the people. They work for us, but they've forgotten that. They think that they're untouchable. They think that it's automatic that they're going to be in, and they control it. And the only way we can convince them they're not in control is show them that we're in control by voting. And that's the problem. The problem is the people have not voted. We got them out. We got them out in the recall. Hopefully they're just as angry, just as upset, and just as engaged. But I'll tell you what, it's time for the revolution. We can't continue to allow people to lie. And we have to have the people who work for this city answer questions. I'm tired of listening to Noons never answer a question. I'm tired of listening to Kathy Ann. When she does answer, it's total fabrications about 85% of the time. We went over on our show her $21 million or $22 million in savings and proved it was total baloney. Okay? Now we've got, I don't know what to call you, because I got to kiss your ring because you were a judge. Now we got counselors, kneeling at the altar of he's the corporation counsel. He's Liz Pereira in pants. That's what he is now. He's no longer a judge. I don't know if you can keep that title, as a emeritus. You can be, judge retired, as some officers, naval officers, U.S. Navy admiral retired or something like that. But he's not a judge. He's a city employee. He's someone that's there to supposedly act in the best interest of this community. And he should be held accountable. And when a city councilor asks him a question, they not only deserve an answer, they require an answer. He works for them. He works for them. They are the legislative body of this city. He's no longer the judge. They're the judge. And I will go on record as saying I'm very disappointed with every single counselor that was in that chamber for not holding him to that standard. I don't care what he was in a former life. He's the corporation counsel now. And if you're asking him for an opinion and he doesn't give you an answer, you keep him there until he gives him an answer, until he gives you an answer. And that's what he's getting paid to do. He wasn't there to slough it off. Oh, that won't happen. Really? Are you going to walk across the Taunton River next? And it's like, answer the question. You're the corporation counsel. You're no longer the judge. The city council, by the way, in case you didn't know that, and I saw an interesting article about him in Facebook about him grilling some reporters, unjustly, by the way. And so, let's put this in perspective. If you want to be on the bench and have the gavel, go back to being a judge. If you want to be the corporation counsel, you better answer the questions. And if our new counselors better make them.
Well, real quickly, Chip, just so our viewers know, with the passage of that ordinance, in 20 days, the bills are going out, so you can expect yours. So if you're opting out, do it now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Friday, and believe me, there's going to be more to talk about. Have a great day.
Up the rebels.